Okay, so it is Friday afternoon and I'm in the garage. Now we're halfway through the 2026 Formula Vee season in the Filari. How's it going, you ask? Well, not bad. We are 8 rounds into the 14 round season, which means we're a tad over halfway, and I've managed to win Class B at every round except one. I've also got a number of fastest laps. This puts me leading the Class B Championship with 6 rounds to go. And as well as that, I'm also currently sitting 5th in the main championship. So let's have a quick look at the season so far.
The season opener was at Donington, and after a red flag strewn qualifying in which I never got going, I qualified 20th. I had one of my most enjoyable races ever, with some really close racing and the occasional bit of racing that might have been a little bit too close. I finished 10th on the road and 1st in class, but some time penalties for track limits pushed me back to 12th. A gridding snafu in race 2 meant that instead of starting from 12th where I should have done, I ended up starting from 22nd after having been somewhat overlooked in the gridding up process. Despite the frustration, I managed to keep a cool head and made a really good start, and then over the course of the next few laps managed to fight my way back up to 7th place before, unfortunately, the race was brought to a premature end after a couple of laps under the safety car. Next up was Pembrey in South Wales, a circuit I haven't raced on since 2005, so I took advantage of the Friday test day to try and relearn the circuit and get up to speed. As you can see, I was having a little bit of difficulty keeping the car on track. All weekend the car felt on a knife edge, and on Saturday night I discovered a bent rear shock and coil-bound rear spring. This probably explained the rather odd-looking friction circle from the data at Pembrey. I qualified 10th and initially made a reasonable start and was hoping to be able to keep up with the faster group in front of me. For the first few corners I still had hopes of sticking with the group in front of me, but by the end of the first lap it was apparent I didn't quite have the pace to stick with them. It was something of a race of attrition, and with a few people spinning or pulling off with mechanical problems, I actually managed to finish 6th, which is actually my best result for some time. Race 2, starting from 6th, and initially I made another good start and managed to get past Adam Macaulay on the run down to the hairpin. Having found the bent shock and the coil-bound spring overnight, I was somewhat dubious that I would be able to stick with the guys in front, but at least this time I would have an excuse. I didn't help my cause by leaving the door open and allowing Adam Macaulay to get back past me. The compromised rear suspension meant I had to drive slightly within myself to prevent things like this happening. Despite the handling issues, which were making the high-speed corners difficult, I had a race-long battle with Magic Hammerer. The run down to the hairpin was the only place I could get close to him, and despite repeated attempts, down the outside, down the inside, down the outside and down the inside again, I just couldn't get any of them to stick on the exit. It was fun, if slightly frustrating, and I ended up crossing the line in 9th place. Next up was Snet, but before heading for Snet, I changed the bent rear shock and the coil-bound spring to hopefully improve the handling. As well as changing the rear shock and spring, I also did the front brake pads, which were getting pretty thin. I did the rear shoes at the same time because they'd got drenched in gearbox oil due to a leaky seal. And with that, the car was ready to load, so bright and early Friday morning I went over to load up, except...
So, just about to load it into the van, drove it out the garage, first was fine, went into reverse, no reverse gear, went through the other gears, it goes into first, second, won't go into third, and it goes into fourth. I've no idea why. So
it was soon apparent that that gearbox was knackered, so I had to make the decision about what to do, and being the stubborn arse I am, I decided to spend the rest of the day fitting the old gearbox from the Scarab into the car and heading to Snet late that night. It took over 8 hours to take the old gearbox off, swap all the bits onto the Scarab gearbox, put it back on and get the car up and running. I ended up leaving a little later than originally planned and arrived at Snet at 3 a.m. So here we are. It's just shy of 3 a.m. and I'm just arriving at Snet. Things got off to an inauspicious start at Snet when the fuel pump failed on the first lap of qualifying, meaning I had to get towed back to the pits. I managed to fit a replacement fuel pump and was allowed to start at the back of the grid in 20th place. Starting from 20th and last, it would mean I would have to fight my way through the field to get a decent finishing position. The shortened qualifying meant that my brakes weren't fully bedded in, but I was hopeful that the new spring and shock would improve the handling and allow me to make some forward progress. I made a good start and had made up a number of places before the first corner. Over the next few laps I managed to fight my way forward to lead Class B and ended up finishing 10th place overall. Not bad from the back. I started race 2/10 and it very soon became a bit of a lonely race. I had one early overtake for position, but then was lucky to get away with this little ride across the grass on the second lap. I ended up finishing 7th overall and first in class. Next up was Cadwell, a 750-mile round trip, but a beautiful circuit, so worth the effort. Qualifying again did not go smoothly, with some unfortunate contact early on, but I recovered to qualify 10th. Not a great start with too much wheel spin, but I didn't lose any places. The story of the season continued with another slightly lonely race, as I need to find a little bit of pace to get onto terms with the group in front of me. I ended up finishing 10th and second in class to Bill Garner on this occasion. For race 2, I'd softened the anti-roll bar to try and help with the understeer I was experiencing. At the start, despite fluffing the gear change slightly, I managed to get past the other Class B car of Bill Garner and stay ahead of the fast-starting Francis Twyman, who managed to sneak by Bill as well. Coming into park for the first time and Steve-O locked up but recovered quickly. Behind me, I was under pressure from Francis Twyman, but Bill took the opportunity to sneak down the inside of Francis and gain the place. Coming through the mountain, Bill had got right on my tail, and coming out into the start-finish straight, he was virtually touching my gearbox. Coming through Coppice, he got alongside me and got past me as we went into Charlie's. For the rest of the race, I did my best to put Bill under pressure. And when I noticed his left-hand shock had snapped, and then his right-hand shock had snapped, I thought I was in with a chance. But all credit to Bill, he just didn't seem to slow down. It didn't seem to bother him. On the last lap, Lady Luck stepped in, as she often does. Bad luck for Bill, good luck for me, as Bill missed second coming out of the hairpin, lost drive, and I was managed to sneak past, take 7th, and the class win. Okay, so there we are. A quick rundown of the season so far. Now, if anyone had told me at the beginning of the season I'd be in this position halfway through, I wouldn't have believed them. Not on previous seasons' experience anyway. So all I'm hoping now is the second half of the season mimics the first half. If you've made it this far, I hope you've enjoyed the video. And if you've got any feedback on how I can make the videos better, more entertaining, or whatever, it'd be great to hear from you. And if you can do all the things the kids do, which is say like, subscribe and follow and all that sort of thing, it'd be great. Next up, Silverstone in a week's time, and I'll see you there. And I'll keep you posted. Bye.